Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we have a beer that should be really quite interesting. So this one is a Belgian company but it's owned by a Japanese guy called Leo Imai, hence why I'm wearing my Japanese shirt today. And this is going to be my first ever Lambic review for you on the channel. So I will tell you a little bit about exactly what a Lambic beer is as well. But today we're going to go to Owa Beer and we're having a taste of their Yuzu Lambic. Now if you don't know what Yuzu are, they're these kind of little Japanese sort of citron things. They're used often in Japanese cooking and they've got a very distinctive taste. If you've seen my channel before and some of the Japanese beers that I've reviewed, you'll know that I love these kind of Yuzu Weizen beers and the Yuzu IPAs and stuff that you can get from Japan. And this beer, of course, was very kindly given to me by my friend Richard, who subscribed to the channel a while ago, and I've met up with him and we've become friends. So I can see why he wanted me to review this beer, and he very kindly gave it to me to review for you guys. So Richard, a huge thank you, and it's really cool to be able to review this one as my first Lambic beer. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy my particular take on this beer. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, of course, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Owa Beer. This is the very first time I'm trying one of their beers. Of course, there's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beers based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There are ones there both from my Japanese beer reviews and from my Belgian beer reviews. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys, and the support that you give the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about the brewery then. So Owa Beer, as I mentioned to you, are based in Belgium but owned by Leo Imai, who is from Yokohama in Japan. So originally Leo studied chemistry at Tokyo University of Science, and then he went on to do the Master of Science in Brewing Distilling programme that's available at Heriot-Watt in Edinburgh, back in my homeland of Scotland. So after graduating from university in Japan, he went on to work for the Kirin City restaurant chain, and he was later transferred to Dusseldorf in Germany. And while working there, he was introduced to various new beers, but he felt after a while that he wanted to have a better knowledge of how beers were made when he was introducing them to customers and things like that. So he went to Edinburgh in 2001 and studied the Master of Science programme in Brewing Distilling at Heriot-Watt before he took up a job at Prosselboy near Regensburg a few years later. So after 3 years he moved to Belgium to work with Brasserie de la Seine in 2005, but he later opened up his own brewery as well, although he found it was very difficult and very expensive to do it himself, so he decided to go down the route of contract brewing, and he's brewed at a few different places. So far he's brewed at De La Seine, he's brewed at De Ranke, St. Frulia and also Candon Bosch as well. So he's brewed at quite a few different places, and as far as I know, this beer is actually brewed at Candon Bosch. So they're a very interesting company. The name, of course, is derived from kanji, and I can't quite explain this to you fully, but the name Owa, it's something to do with combining the kanji, one of the kanjis for Europe and also the kanji for Japan as well, and then when you combine these they give you a different character that makes Owa. So I can't explain that fully. I know my hiragana and my katakana well, but the kanji, of course, is definitely a work in progress. Japanese, of course, is a little bit crazy with these kind of 3 different alphabets, if you like, but a very interesting company nonetheless. They've got a few different beers, of course. So in their regular range they've got the Grand Cru, the Iwai beer, and they also have the Kuro, and their 3 lambics that they do are very interesting. So they have this one here, which is the Yuzu Lambic, they have the Uma as well, and also the Sakura. So it's really kind of cool to see a classic sort of Belgian style of beer with these very traditional Japanese things. So it's a really kind of, it's a little bit of a niche market, if you like, that Leo's gone for here, but I think the company are doing very well. Their beers are being exported to Japan and proven to be very popular. So yeah, it's really cool. And of course the Japanese beer market is a little bit kind of saturated with German style beers. It's not often that you find a Japanese actually brewing the Belgian style of beers, even though it is quite popular to drink Belgian beer in Japan. It's something I don't quite understand, but I guess as the craft beer market in Japan evolves, we will see more and more of it. So yeah, just to tell you a little bit about exactly what a Lambic beer is before we open this one up then, since this is my very first taste of one and my first review, of course. So the Lambic beers are usually a blend of 2 or more different types of beer from other brewers, and they mix these together to create the desired results. So the beers are fermented with wild yeasts and bacteria found in the Zen Valley, which is the area kind of around Brussels, and the Lambic beers are specifically from the Pajottenland region of Belgium, and I think, what's it called, Cantillon, they brew them in Brussels as well. But the word Lambic, of course, is derived from Lambic, which is a municipality near Halle in Belgium. So that's a little bit of a history of the style of Lambic beer for you. And we, of course, we will learn more about it. I will need to make sure and review a proper Belgian Lambic beer for you at some point as well, although it's maybe not fair to say that, because this one, of course, is brewed in Belgium, but it's got a little bit of a Japanese kind of a quirk to it, if you like. So yeah, really interesting beer, this one. This one is 5.5% ABV. This one's made using yuzu peel that's shipped in from Wakayama, and Imai actually does the zesting of this himself. So apparently one batch of this takes 80 hours to zest, and the zest is steeped in Detrocht Lambic for 2 months at approximately a ratio of 1 yuzu per 375 milliliter bottle. So it's a really very interesting beer, this one. It's a very long process to make these Lambic beers. So yeah, really interesting, this one. There you can see the nice label artwork, and this one there you can see the little, I don't know, I forget if that's a beaver maybe. You can see the beaver just balancing the yuzu on its head there. It tells you on the side here, yuzu is a Japanese citron and used only peel. No perfume, no pigment, no sugar are used. Even the yeast is not added. Lambic is brewed with wild yeast along the side of Zindliver in the suburb of Brussels. Yuzu Lambic is the first marriage of Belgian traditional beer Lambic and Japanese representative fruits yuzu by a Japanese brewer in Belgium. So yeah, really quite an interesting beer, this one. Like I said, I really do like how it's presented as well. The artwork is really nice and classic and Japanese, so I think this bottle will be getting added to the shelf behind me. So yeah, once again, a huge thank you to Richard for giving me this beer, and I'm really looking forward to it. I do like how this one, it was just all nicely wrapped together. But yeah, we'll get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. So, oh, it's actually, I was expecting this to be a sort of, how do you say, a nice kind of cork cap, but you can see there's a cork inside it and a metal bit on top, so this one might take a little bit to get open actually. So we'll just have a go at this and see how we get on. This is going to be a bit of a strange one, I think. So yeah, nice kind of cork there. I guess we'll have to put the corkscrew in and do this. Always one of these things. Maybe I should have opened this up before starting the video, but yeah, nah, we'll just go with it. Just check that this is going to go through. There we are. So yeah, this one might be a bit strange. No, there we are. So there's the beer open. So not a really smoky opening to this one. Oh, and you can smell that nice kind of sharp lambic sort of thing coming out of this. So we'll get it out and into the glass then and see how we get on. You can definitely smell that very distinctive yuzu character coming out of this beer. Yeah, that looks really nice. Green bottle, of course, as well, which I think is a little bit unusual for Belgium. Usually it's brown bottles they come in, but that beer looks really nice. Just look at that. If you can see the colour of it, it's a really nice kind of bright orange colour. It's almost the same as you'd expect from like an IPA or something like this, and there's very little head to that. There's just a very thin, foamy white layer there. But it smells really nice. It's got a very sort of vinous note coming off of it actually. So it's a really nice looking beer. You can see it's really quite hazy. If I put my fingers behind the glass, there's not much transparency to it. It is quite opaque, but I think it's fair to describe this one as a nice kind of blood orange colour. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there, but overall it looks very nice. So yeah, really nice looking beer, this one. I'm really excited to try my first Lambic beer, of course, but let's take a look at the aroma and see how we get on then. Apologies for the edit there, guys. The camera decided it couldn't detect the SD card anymore. I don't know why, but anyway, like I said, let's get on with the aroma of this one. So as I was saying, it's really quite unusual, this beer. So you can smell this kind of bready, sort of yeasty kind of thing just underpinning the beer. There's almost a little bit of a kind of peppery, spicy sort of thing in the beer too, which is, it's really unusual. As I say, I've never tried a Lambic beer before, so I'm not really used to these aromas. But yeah, there's this really peppery, almost bready, yeasty thing just underpinning the beer. On top of that, you can pick out these kind of distinctive yuzu notes. It's almost a little bit kind of floral and herbal as well. It does smell a little bit like kind of flowers in a certain way. There's an almost earthy element to it as well, which is quite interesting, and some kind of, I get a little bit of a kind of woody character to it. The spiciness that's coming off the beer in some ways is a little bit sort of woody as well. It's a really just interesting aroma. There's quite a bit of complexity to this one. So yeah, a little bit of herbal, grassy kind of thing in there. I think must be from the hops of the other beers. But really that spicy woody notes, very, very interesting. A little bit peppery. And when you sugar it up a little bit, you get more of that earthy kind of herbal, floral kind of thing coming out of the beer. But the yuzu, you can smell a little bit of the yuzu on the back end, but other than that, the yuzu isn't quite as prominent as you would think. There's a little bit of it there, but I was expecting it to be really quite sharp, almost like the way some of these kind of sour IPAs and things are. This is a really kind of unusual beer. It's a really unusual aroma, this one. So especially with this, and as I always say, just take a little bit of time to enjoy the aroma of the beer before you actually taste it. But yeah, let's have a proper look at this beer then. So this one is the Yuzu Lambic 2015 edition from Owa Beer, brewed by Leo Imai, a Japanese national who lives in Belgium, of course. And once again, thank you to my friend Richard for giving me this beer to review for you guys. Kanpai. Ooh, that's really unusual. I'm not used to beers being quite that kind of sharp and sour. That's really interesting. You know, it's definitely, I can see this style. Just if the other lambics are like this, it's definitely a sort of an acquired taste. Yeah, that's a really interesting beer. That you would definitely need to take a little bit of time to get used to this style and exactly what's going on with it. But the distinctive yuzu flavours in this one, if you know Japanese food at all, that kind of distinctive yuzu element is definitely present in this beer. So I guess, this one is very, very unique, I think. I don't think there is another Yuzu Lambic available in the world, so if you get the chance to try this beer, I really recommend that you do, because it's a very, very unusual sort of thing that you're coming across here. So as I always say, just sugar the beer around your whole palate and just let your mouth adjust to this one. But to me, this is really unusual, but it is very nice. It's got a really sharp, tart, citricy kind of thing, which is exactly what you'd expect when you're using wild yeasts and bacterias and stuff like this. It's certainly more sour and sharp and tart than some of the other beers I've come across. But yeah, that's really nice. So with this one, you've got this kind of bready, yeasty sort of character that just underpins the beer, and it comes out more in the aftertaste. You can feel that bready, yeasty character there in the middle of your palate. There's a little bit of a peppery spice to it, but that's quite minimal. It's mainly a sort of pale, malty kind of thing, with just a little bit of that sort of thicker, bready character on top of it. I like how this beer kind of combines together. That flavour in the middle of your palate is really interesting as well, because it's kind of like, in a way, it's kind of just like, there's a little bit of a woody character in there. You can feel that sort of, the fact that the other beers, and this one of course, have been aged in barrels for a while. You can really get some of that slightly spicy, woody character coming out of this beer. And as I said, you can detect that in the aroma. Yeah, it's really, pardon me, around the very edge of your tongue you can feel it's really that sharpness, that tart, yuzu, citrusy sharpness comes in, and it just attacks the edge of your tongue. It's really very, very sharp and very unique, of course. It's very difficult to describe the yuzu flavour for you, because it is just very, very unique. Try some Japanese food if you want to have a go at that, but you can just feel that it goes all the way around the edge of your tongue. It's just in a little bit from the very edge, and you can get some of these hoppy elements out on the edge of your tongue too. There's just a little bit of smooth hoppy character there. So in the back corners of the palate, I'm finding it's a little bit earthy, and as you come further forward, there's a little bit of herbal character, and for me, around the very front curve of the tongue, you can feel it's a little bit kind of, it's just a little bit grassy, I think, but the hops are very, very smooth. There's very, very little bitterness to the hoppy character in this one at all. It's mainly that sharp, kind of tart, sour quality that's coming out of this beer. Which is exactly what you'd expect. This style of beer, it really is definitely an acquired taste. It's really interesting. It's like nothing else I've ever reviewed on the channel for you, so I will need to make sure at some point fairly soon I review one of the Belgian lambics for you, like a Kriek or a Faro or a Goys or something like this. I do need to make sure and review some of those for you at some point soon, but this one certainly is a really, really interesting and unusual beer, and I do like how that it is really cool to have that really sharp, sour yuzu character to this one, because that in itself is very, very unique. So yeah, basically, if you get the chance to try this beer, have a go at it. Just be aware though, it is something that I would say in all my experience of trying beers, this one is certainly something else. It's really unusual, but it's very nice. As I'm taking more and more sips of this beer, I can say, yeah, I'm getting used to this and getting properly into it. It just takes a little bit of time, but just be aware that when you first try this, you're going to think it's a very, very unusual flavour, but you can tell right away it's a good quality beer, and there's a lot of time and work going into this. It is just a case of actually getting used to the type of flavour profile that you'd expect from this. So I will need to try some of these, like a Belgian lambic beer, and one of the original styles, and see how that comes across. But I do like what this beer kind of does. Sour beers, of course, are becoming more and more popular amongst the kind of new wave classic, the new wave craft brewers. So it's kind of cool to go back and try the style where this originates from. But that's really nice. The sourness kind of drops a little bit as your palate adjusts to this one. The sourness just drops a little bit, and you can start to feel the flavours blending together a little bit more. The yuzu comes in and it's very sharp initially, then it just mellows out, and when it mellows out, that's more the kind of flavour that I'm used to expecting from yuzu stuff, and it's really nice. It's a very, very distinctive flavour. And there's a lot of good yuzu food in Japan, if you didn't know. I've mentioned that a few times, but overall, you know, this is a really quite nice beer, and something very, very distinctive, I think, as well. So I would definitely drink this again if I had the chance. I do want to try their Uma and their Sakura lambic beers as well. That would be really quite cool. So yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do, because it's something very, very unique. In terms of the mouthfeel of this beer, I would say it's mid-bodied. It's got a very, very wet mouthfeel to it. It's a little bit oily as well. As I said, the flavour in this one is dominated by that sharp, tart character from the yuzu, and from just the fact that it's a lambic beer, basically. These Brettanomyces and all these kind of wild yeast strains and stuff that are coming on. It really is just a very, very sharp, tart beer. There's a little bit of smoothness from the hops around the edge of the tongue. The middle of the palate is very, very interesting as well. It's quite nice. There's almost a little bit of a sweetness to it, but as I said, that kind of woody character you get from it gives it a little bit of spice. But overall, it's just, the good way to sum this one up is that it's a really, really quite interesting beer. So if you get the chance to try this one, I highly recommend that you do, and it certainly has made me very curious to try some of the other beers from Owa. It would be really cool to have a look at those for you on the channel at some point in the future. But yeah, really, really interesting beer, this one. So the Yuzu Lambic from 2015 by Owa Beer, owned by Leo Imai, a Japanese national who's living in Belgium and brewing Belgian beers. So yeah, been really cool to review this one for you guys. I hope you've enjoyed my take on it, even though it's maybe not the best kind of tasting that I've done, but it's a really interesting one. And it was very cool to try this as my first ever lambic beer. So a huge thank you once again to Richard for giving me this beer, and hopefully I can return to this brewery at some point in the near future, and I will make an effort to get a Belgian, a more classic sort of Belgian lambic beer to review for you very soon. But yeah, the Yuzu Lambic from Owa Beer, based in Belgium, owned by a Japanese guy, Leo Imai. Really, really cool beer, this one. So if you get the chance, try it. But thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. If you have tried this beer before, let me know your own thoughts on it in the comment section below. As always, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all my usual social media as well. But most importantly, make sure you try some of these Owa beers. They're really, really interesting on the basis of this one. So I'll catch catch you very soon, and I'm sure we'll return to this brewery in the very near future. Slancher just now, thank you once again to Richard.